इंशाल्लाह। अब कर लें शेख।
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम वस्सलातु वस्सलामु अला नबिय्यिना मुहम्मद व अला आलिहि व सहबिहि अजमईन। Welcome to our lesson of Tafsir of Surah Al-Isra from verse number 4 onward. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وقضينا إلى بني إسرائيل في الكتاب لتفسدن في الأرض مرتين وَلَتَعْلُنَّ عُلُوًّا كَبِيرًا. And we gave clear warning to the children of Israel in the book that twice would they do mischief on the earth and be elated with mighty arrogance, and twice would they be punished. فَإِذَا جَاءَ وَعْدُ أُولَاهُمَا بَعَثْنَا عَلَيْكُمْ عِبَادًا لَنَا أُولِي بَأْسٍ شَدِيدٍ فَجَاسُوا خِلَالَ الدِّيَارِ وَكَانَ وَعْدًا مَفْعُولًا. When the first of the warnings came to pass, we sent against you our servants, given to terrible warfare. They entered the very inmost part of your homes, and it was a warning completely fulfilled. ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَا لَكُمُ الْكَرَّةَ عَلَيْهِمْ وَأَمْدَدْنَاكُمْ بِأَمْوَالٍ وَبَنِينَ وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ أَكْثَرَ نَفِيرًا. Then did we grant you the return as against them. We gave you increase in resources and sons, and made you the more numerous in manpower. In ahsantum ahsantum li'anfusikum wa in asa'tum falaha. If you did well, you did well for yourselves. If you did evil, you did it against yourselves. فَإِذَا جَاءَ وَعْدُ الْآخِرَةِ لِيَسُوءُوا وُجُوهَكُمْ وَلِيَدْخُلُوا الْمَسْجِدَ كَمَا دَخَلُوهُ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ وَلِيُتَبِّرُوا مَا عَلَوْا تَتْبِيرًا. So when the second of the warnings came to pass, we permitted your enemies to disfigure your faces and to enter your temple as they had entered it before, and to visit with destruction all that fell into their power. عَسَى رَبُّكُمْ أَن يَرْحَمَكُمْ وَإِنْ عُدْتُمْ عُدْنَا وَجَعَلْنَا جَهَنَّمَ لِلْكَافِرِينَ حَصِيرًا. It may be that your Lord may yet show mercy unto you, but if you revert to your sins, we shall revert to our punishments. And we have made hell a prison for those who reject all faith. So these are the ayat of Surah Bani Israel, or Surah Al-Isra, from verse number 4 to verse number 8. And in these ayat, what it has said in brief, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that we have conveyed to Bani Israel in their book, which is Tawrat, that you are going to corrupt in the land twice, and because of that corruption and haughtiness of yours, there would be a warning which is given to you. And after the first of your corruption, we are going to send upon you our people, very powerful, very strong, those who are going to enter into your houses, and that promise has been fulfilled. After that, we are going to give you another chance. We will give you dominance upon those people who made you captive and who defeated you first. We will help you with money, with sons, and with a lot of increase in your manpower. But remember, when you do good, it is for yourself. When you do evil, it will fall against yourselves. But because you people remain corrupting in the land, then the last warning would come. And then your enemies would enter into your houses once again to disfigure your faces, to enter into your mosque, and to destroy it completely. Whatever things they got, they are going to destroy it. And then the last ayah, number 8, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mercy upon you. Remember, if you return to your old customs and habits of evil, we will come back as well. Of course, our coming back means that we will punish you. And we have made Jahannam a place for assembling for kuffar, for those who reject our favors, our bounties. So that is the main subject matter of these ayats. There is a history of Bani Israel, because all this what is narrated here, it is related to the history of Bani Israel. This is why it would be good if we have a summarized brief history of Bani Israel, right from the beginning till these two promises which are mentioned here. Promises are two warnings which are mentioned here. We must understand one thing, that out of these two warnings, one has already happened, which happened 586 BC, when they have been attacked by Nebuchadnezzar of Babylonia, and he entered into Jerusalem, and then he destroyed everything. After that, it is said that we are going to give you another chance. And after that chance, there would be the second warning. And the second warning, once again, your enemy would enter into your houses and destroy the temple. The common opinion among Mufassirin that these two events have already happened. But because we have to explain it in a way which shows that the second warning did not happen yet, and there is a time that it should happen, and that time, in the light of all what is happening in Palestine nowadays, it seems that the time for that second warning is very, very near. So let us take first the history of Banu Israel. Israel, as we know, Israel is the name of Sayyidina Yaqub alayhi salam, the son of Ishaq. Ishaq is the son of Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. Yaqub alayhi salam's name is Israel, so his children are Banu Israel. The 12 children of Yaqub alayhi salam, including Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam. And all these 12 children, they were, you can say that they were the father of these 12 tribes. So the history of Bani Israel is the history of 12 tribes. That is one thing. Secondly, we know that Banu Israel, they were in Palestine, especially in that area which is known as Canaan. Sayyidina Yusuf is the first person to be taken to Egypt. And for that, the whole story is described well in Surah Yusuf, that how he was thrown into the well by his own brethren out of jealousy. He was taken to Egypt, where he was in the house of Aziz Misr, a great, one of the great responsible person in the kingdom of Egypt. And then that story between him and his wife Zulaykha, which by which he ended up into the prison, where he remained for so many years until he was released. And once the king has spoken to him, he was so admiring of him that he took him as his great minister. You can say that in today's term, he was taken as the prime minister for the king. So he got the whole administration of the country in his own hand. And this is how he invited his brothers and his parents to Egypt, and they settled down. So Sayyidina Ibrahim's time is around 2000 before Christ. And when these people came to Egypt, they remained there until the time of Musa alayhi salam, which is around 16th century before Christ, because Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam was around 1520 BC. So he took Bani Israel to Sinai. When they crossed the one branch of Red Sea, they crossed it. They were chased by Pharaoh and his warriors. And we know that they all drowned in the ocean, and Musa alayhi salam and Banu Israel, they escaped. And then this is how they came to freedom, liberty. That was in Sinai Peninsula. Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam was given the 10 commandments. That is the part of Torah. When he went to Mount Sinai, which is known as Mount Tur as well, he remained there for about 40 nights. And that is the time when he was given the tablets on which was inscribed the 10 commandments. So Banu Israel were in Sinai, and at a certain point, Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam asked them to come and do jihad against the people ruling Palestine at that time. They were idol worshippers, they were mushrikeen, and that was the time of jihad for them. But Banu Israel became so cowards that they simply said to Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, "Idhab anta wa rabbuka faqatila inna hahuna qa'idun." Musa, go yourself with your Lord and fight. As for we are here just to watch. We are just sitting here. Why they did not do jihad? Because they were afraid of those people who were very mighty and very strong in Palestine. And they were titled as Jabbarin. People in Nafiya Qawman Jabbarin. They said that they are very, very strong and mighty people are ruling. And as long as they are there, we can't enter into it. And that was their answer. And this is why they were punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. And they were told that you would remain in the desert for 40 years, And this what happened, that they were not able to come out of Sinai, and they remained there roaming from one corner to the other corner for 40 years. And by the end of 40 years, Sayyidina Musa, his brother Harun, alayhim as-salam, both have died. And then came the successor to Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam, Nabi Yusha ibn Nun. Now, Nabi Yusha ibn Nun was the person who was leading the next generation of Banu Israel. The first generation which did not face the enemy, they have come from Egypt, from captivity. They got the mindset of slaves. But the new generations, which was born and brought up in the free society of Sinai as a free persons, they were able to understand and fight. Sayyidina Yusha took these people to enter into the first Palestinian town known as Ariha. Ariha nowadays is known as Jericho. So Jericho was conquered. And for your knowledge, Jericho is the most oldest town on this planet. So Jericho was conquered, and this is how Bani Israel got some authority in Palestine. So this is happening around, as we have said, around 1600 years before Christ. After that, for quite a good time, they remained there for next 400 years. They did not have any one united kingdom, because all 12 tribes, they got their own territories, and they used to govern in their own territories, and sometimes they used to attack each other as well, until by the end of 1,000 years before Christ, one of their prophet known as Samuel, he prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, oh Allah, help us with the king who could lead us and who could bring us victory against the idol worshippers. His dua was answered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and a man called Talut was declared as their king. So that is Talut, who united them once again, and he is the one who fought Jalut, which is known in the Bible as Goliath, and he came out victorious after battling him. Among the army of Jalut, there was a young man called Dawood, and Dawood was the person who killed Goliath or Jalut. So this is how Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam emerged as a warrior, and later he married the daughter of Talut. He became his son-in-law, and actual rule of Bani Israel started at that time. So Talut was there for around 16 years as a ruler. Then Sayyidina Dawood alayhi salam took control, and he was the first great mighty king and prophet in Bani Israel. He wanted to construct a mosque, but he was not able to do that. He died after a rule of 40 years. Sulaiman, his son, succeeded him, and Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam, once again a king and a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, was able to erect this mosque, which is known to be as Haikal of Sulaiman, Haikal of Sulaiman alayhi salam. Though they name it as Haikal, but actually it is the same name which is mentioned in this surah, Masjid al-Aqsa, the farthest mosque. So that mosque was built by Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam. It was completed in 7 years. That was a great mosque and a great monument for Bani Israel during those days. Sayyidina Sulaiman alayhi salam also died after a rule of 40 years. And just after his death came a split among the children of Bani Israel. His own son, who was Rahba'am, he took control of Yehudia, which was the southern part of Palestine, Yehudia, and the capital was Jerusalem, Beit al-Maqdis. On the northern side, another person, his other son, he took control, and his capital was a town called Shakim, which is now, it is known as Nablus. So there are now two kingdoms, northern kingdoms and southern kingdoms. Once again, these people, they did not rule smoothly and wisely. They were fighting each other, and sometimes they had to take assistance from the idol worshippers around them to face the opponent, which is again their own people. This northern kingdom survived for 256 years. After that, the Assyrians, or in English, they are known as the Assyrians of Babylonia. They attacked them, and that kingdom came to an end. And they have taken with them around 30,000 Bani Israel, or the Jews, with them to Babylonia. Now the southern kingdom, which is known as Yehudia, the capital of which is Jerusalem, it survived another 120 years. And after 120 years came that warning which is mentioned here in this surah. Let me say that during that time, there used to be a great number of prophets who emerged among them, and they used to admonish them, but they did not listen to them. So in 586 BC, Bukhtu-Nusr, known in Arabic as Bukhtu-Nusr, and in Bible and in English, Nabuchodonosor, he was the king of Babylonia at that time, out of the people of Kaldan or Kaldaniyin. Bukhtu-Nusr came, he invaded Jerusalem, he defeated the forces of Bani Israel, he entered into the temple of Solomon, he devastated the whole temple, nothing is left out of that temple, not even a single wall. And then he has taken with him around 66,000 Bani Israel, or the Jews, to Babylonia. So this is the years of their captivity in Iraq, in Babylonia. And during that captivity, they got prophet like Uzair, or known as Azra as well, who dictated Torah once again because it was lost. So this is why he was given a lot of respect among Bani Israel, the person who dictated to them a Torah once again. So they remained there for around 50 to 70 years. What happened that the ruler of Persia, in Arabic Faris, and in modern day times it is known as Iran, but in those days it was Persia. The Persian king Khusru, known as Cyrus in English, he invaded Babylonia, he defeated them, and then he is the one who brought back the Jews back to Palestine, to Jerusalem. Not all of them came back with him, because many people wanted to settle down in the fertile land of Iraq. They did not want to leave it at all. And there were many others who have migrated to other parts of the world, especially towards east. So that is the time when so many people migrated to Persia, and from Persia to the land which is known as Khurasan. Nowadays, a part of it is Afghanistan. So they moved to Afghanistan, and from Afghanistan, they moved to India as well. That is, again, a different story about the plight of Bani Israel. And it is said that these 10 tribes of Bani Israel have been lost. Only they could trace only 2 tribes, those tribes which were ruling Jerusalem, the tribe of Bin Yamin, and also the tribe of Yehuda, on whose name their kingdom is known as Yehudia or Judea. So that was the time when they were brought back to Jerusalem. And this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, that once you will come back, we are going to give you another chance, and we will help you with money and children, sons especially. وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ أَكْثَرَ نَفِيرًا, and we will turn you into a great multitude of numbers. They came back and they were given the second chance. Right in the beginning, they must be obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But after a little while, they return back to their own old habits, which means to abandon the Sharia of Musa alayhi salam and to follow the ways of mushrikeen. This what happened, and this is why there was the second warning of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was awaiting for them. Now here comes this question that according to some of the Mufassirin, the second warning has already happened. They say that when these people were brought back from Babylonia, first they were ruled by the Persians who brought them back. They were ruled for about 200 years. And then they were defeated by the forces of Alexander. So another rule started, that is the Greek sponsored rule, means those people who were left behind after Alexander. He kept on conquering lands after lands until he came even to India. And from there, he came back and he died on his way back to Macedonia, or the birthplace in Europe. So they were ruled by Persians, and after that by the Greeks. And then the Greeks were thrown out by Mukabiyin. Now these Mukabiyin, which is known as the revolutions of Mukabiyin, they were from among Bani Israel. So after throwing the Greeks, they were able to rule for another 93 years. 93 years. And after that, once again, they became so weak that they had to ask the Romans to come and help them. And this is how the Roman commanders, during the time of the Roman Emperor Pompey, invaded Palestine, and they appointed their own governors. Not all the time. In the beginning, the first governor was a Jew itself, a Jew named as Herod. He was a Jew, but because he was very much in favor of Romans, so Romans tolerated him. But after his death, once his son took over the rule, Romans threw him out, and then they have planted their own governor, which is known in history as Pontius Pilatus or Pontius Pilatus in Arabic version. And that was the one, during his time, Sayyidina Masih alayhi salam appeared on the scene. He remained in Palestine, propagating the revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is known as Injil, or the Gospel. And then, according to the Christians, that event of his crucifixion took place. And according to the Islamic point of view, he was never crucified. There was someone else who was given his shape, and he was the one who was put on the cross. As for Sayyidina Masih alayhi salam, he was taken alive and ascended to the heaven. So this has happened during the time of this Pontius Pilatus. And later, that is the time of Banu Israel, when they were in a state of humiliation and disgrace. And in year 70, a second time, another Roman commander known as Titus, he invaded Palestine because Banu Israel did rebel against the Roman rules. And this time, they entered into Jerusalem. By that time, Banu Israel was able to erect the Temple of Solomon once again during the time of Herod. So there was this temple, or the second temple, and this second temple was also destroyed by the Titus, the Roman emperor, the Roman commander, and the whole temple was destroyed completely, except for a wall. And that is the wall which is known as Wailing Wall, which is the only sign of the Herod's temple, which was left behind him in Jerusalem. So that was their story, that they remained there till that time. And within the next 100 years, they were expelled from Palestine. After Titus comes Hadrian, the emperor of the Roman emperors during his time. Whoever remained out of Jews in Palestine were expelled as well. And they were taken as captives to Rome, where they were treated in a very disgraceful way. And that is the time which is known in the Jewish history as diaspora, that they were scattered throughout the world, but no more from among them was left in Palestine. Then it was the Romans who remained there for around 300 years, until the Romans themselves, they entered into Christianity around 325 AD. And then we see this Queen Helen or Helena coming to Jerusalem and erecting the cathedral of a cathedral which is known as Cathedral of Resurrection, Kanisatul Qiyamah. So that is the Christian rule which started there. And when it was conquered by Sayyidina Umar, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, in the beginning or in the middle of the 7th century, he has taken it from the Christian's hand. The person who gave him the keys of Jerusalem, that was the Christian bishop of Jerusalem at that time. So the Muslim rule started, and it remained there until 1967, when Jerusalem was once again captured by the present occupier known as Israel. So for all that long period, except for around 99 years when it was taken by the Crusaders after the first millennium, it remained there in their hands for 99 years until it was liberated by Salahuddin al-Ayyubi, who came from Kurdistan, and he invaded Palestine and liberated it from the Crusaders. So we can say that the longest rule which was ever happened in that era, that was the Muslim rule, which remained there for around 1,234 years. And in contrast to it, the rule by Bani Israel, or the Jewish rule, right from the time of Talut, including the northern kingdom after Suleiman, and the southern kingdom of Jerusalem, and then the 93 years of Muqabiyin, it remained in the hands of Bani Israel only for 513 years. 513 years. So one can decide very easily that who was the main ruler of Palestine throughout the history. So that opinion, the second opinion of Mufassirin, which says that the second promise or second warning has come true, has come to pass as well, because it was destroyed, Jerusalem was destroyed during the time of Titus. That is the opinion held by most of the Mufassirin. And I myself, I used to hold this opinion as well. And in my lectures, which were given on this issue long ago, I supported this opinion. But in the light of all what is happening nowadays, even many Arab writers, ulama, thinkers, they come to change that opinion. And there are some people who would say very odd things which we can't support. And that odd opinion is that these two promises, they are related to the Muslim era, that Jerusalem was visited by first Sayyidina Umar, and this is how it was conquered. And second time, they say that it is going to happen once again. But we can't associate this even to the victory of Sayyidina Umar, because Sayyidina Umar defeated the Christians. There were no Jews at that, there was no Jews rule at that time at all. So this opinion does not go in accordance to what has happened, what has mentioned in Al-Quran. So this is why leave that odd opinion. We can take the second opinion, that first warning has passed. That was the invasion of Bukhtu-Nusr or Nebuchadnezzar in 586 BC. And after that, according to the promise made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we are going to give you after that another opportunity, وَأَمْدَدْنَاكُمْ بِأَمْوَالٍ وَبَنِينَ, and we would help you with children, with money, وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ أَكْثَرَ نَفِيرًا, and we will increase your number as well. We say that this promise did not happen it did not happen after the Muqabiyin rule has come to an end till our modern times, when the new rule has started on the hands of the Jews in 1948. So that is a long span of time, and we can understand it, that even Quran is saying, ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَا لَكُمُ الْكَرَّةَ عَلَيْهِمْ, and it is known in Arabic that the word ثُمَّ, it is used for some events to happen after the first one, and it should be after the first one with a span of time between two of them. So this span of time could be a month, could be 1 year, could be 10 years, could be 100 years. And in this case, it is around 1,000, more than 1,700 years, or 1,900 years. So they got once again that rule. And the condition was that you are going to behave Islamically, you are going to behave according to the Sharia. So if you do ihsan, you are going to do it for yourselves. But if you do bad, it is going to reflect upon yourselves. And because of that corruption, there would come the second warning. And in second warning, the first party is going to enter into this land once again. And then there would be another fighting or another battle. So that is the event, or that is that second promise which we are going to discuss in our next lesson, inshallah. So we have to stop here for the time being, and to complete it in our next episode. وصلى الله تعالى على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.